Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Facebook Live on our Fun Wednesdays. Today we're going to review some housekeeping notes about the past, and then we're going to go over, like we promised last week, some exercises you can do at work to help you have a better day and feel better. And today, specifically, a couple of things about posture, and then we're also going to talk about weight loss. So the reason we're going to talk about weight loss is the new year is coming up, and I think we've made this, I think we just look at this very uniquely, which is kind of how my brain works. And so it's super fun to explain it because I think it super makes sense and hopefully makes it seem less overwhelming, a little bit more straightforward and completely doable. So 4 housekeeping notes, and I've written all these little notes to remind myself about what they are. So the first thing is to also don't forget to follow us on Facebook like you're doing, and then Instagram Live. Okay, so the Instagram story I will tell you is I'm trying to get better about just kind of sharing about all these thoughts and things that happen during the day that I see and I hear from folks. There's so much opportunity to hear some negative things in the world that wouldn't it be fun just to have regular times that you can remember the positive? And I get to hear them all the time, so I just would love to share them with you. Well, while I can do surgery and figure out all these things, I'm really challenged at electronics and social media. So you may notice that this morning I posted a picture of my boot because I did not know how to do the most simplest of maneuvers, but I will catch on. And my youngest son also told me that I am a little old to be on Instagram. That's what he told me. And so then I thought, all right. Well, I may be a woman in my mid-40s, but with time of life comes expertise and experience. And hopefully, through that experience comes knowledge and wisdom. And by sharing that with everybody, hopefully everybody has a great day. So we're just gonna rock it. We're gonna do the best we can. And if you see an occasional boot, just know I will try harder next time. So the next thing is don't forget our Dirty Santa Party. And our Dirty Santa Party is on December the 20th here at the office from like 6 to 8. I'm so excited about it. And then we also are doing our wellness open house on January the 2nd to also help spurn like the wellness weight loss year, because with a new year comes New Year's resolutions, and we super want to help everyone the most we can. So let's see, anything else? Oh, now we're gonna do our exercises. So today, what we're exercising is we are just doing a couple of things about posture. So the little iPad is going to move here, and we are going to adjourn next to the desk. And I also wore my Wonder Woman socks because I love them. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know is even though I have a skirt on, I have my exercise shorts on underneath. So I promise to not flash you. Okay, so now we're coming over here. So these are just our little kind of bands. And so I'm limited how far back I can go, but these are just tension bands. And so you can get as close to the desk or as far away as you can, and it will vary about how difficult this is. So my weightlifter friend that I used to work out with always used to tell me, nipples to the Lord, because I tend to slouch, which is what some of these exercises are designed to help people with, because slouching is not good for your body. So if you prop your chest upwards, nipples to the Lord, and then you engage your shoulder blades and pull them down, pull them backwards, and then your abs, and you're in a good position. And that's like with any weightlifting activity that you do. So how this is you just start with palms kind of engaged this way, and then you're just gonna kind of pull back. But you don't have to go really fast, you're gonna go slow so that you feel the tension pulling back and you feel the tension in the release. So what you would wanna do is you just wanna do these exercises well. So it's really not about how many you do, it's about doing what you can. So everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. So if this seems super easy, you can modify it, right? Move back further, make it harder, or get a band with more tension. I'm limited because of the window. So again, nipples to the Lord. So that is one exercise you can do. Okay, so the other thing is that this little ball, or a tennis ball. So when you sit in your chair and we're typing, we'll always be like this a lot of times. That's not very good for us, right? So we really want to be like this. So if you put this ball, or a tennis ball, in your back and you sit against the chair, and I'm vertically challenged, so I'm like a Smurf. Okay, so if I go like this, and I nipples to the Lord, shoulders engaged, abs, you see how I can hold the ball. But if I'm typing and I slouch forward, what happens? The ball starts to move. So you can kind of make sure that your posture is maintaining itself by sitting there with that ball as you go about your day. So that's another really easy thing to do to remind you good posture, because with good posture, your whole rest of your body feels better. So there's our 2 things. So now what we're going to talk about is we are going to talk about weight loss. And really, I actually like to call it you being the strongest, leanest version of yourself. Because oftentimes you could weigh less but have higher body fat. So body fat is what you kind of see when you look at your body. Your muscles are what make you strong, but together they make weight. So I'm going to start with this little illusion of the 5 pounds of fat. So this, my friends, is 5 pounds of fat. This is Wonder Woman. We're just going to put her to the side. So this 5 pounds of fat, see how much space that holds on to. That's huge. But if I have like a 5-pound roast, it's going to be so much smaller. So as you lose 5 pounds of fat, that is a lot of inches. But if you put on muscle, you will gain weight, but you will lose inches. So it gets really confusing in your mind. So that's why I'm also going to talk about a body comp. So what a body comp is they're just special scales, and you stand on them and it sends an impedance through your body and it calculates how much muscle do you have and how much fat do you have. And so as you become the strongest, leanest version of yourself, you always want to maximize your muscle mass while feeding that muscle mass enough that you can drive down the body fat. So if someone is coming in and trying to go to Hawaii in like 3 weeks and they say, Sam, I'd like to lose weight, you can't gain muscle mass and lose body fat quickly because your body thinks that's a horrible idea. Your body always wants to protect you because that's its job. So I love to think about everybody as a kindergartner and their body is a robot, right? So just take a second and think about that for yourself. Think, okay, spiritually, you're just a kindergartner. You love everyone, you want to help everyone color, it's a great day. And then you've got this body's job that's to protect you from the day you're created until the day you die. And your body has no emotion, it just has a job. And so its job is to carry on this really long journey of life, okay? Now, a long life's journey, there's different challenges. So when we're younger, we have youth, which allows us to cheat some things, and hopefully we can gain wisdom while we're along the journey. But youth allows you to eat a Pop-Tart and not gain a whole bunch of weight, okay? As we age, we have less youth, but hopefully more life experience or more wisdom. So even though we don't have the youth helping us lose weight or maintain healthy body balance, it's our turn to give our body that balance. But again, look back to your body. So if your body is trying to carry you on the strongest course of your whole life, and your body is primal, meaning it's evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, a lot of the body's stress is lack of food. So the chronic stress response, I think in my mind, is always based off of famine. That makes sense to me. If I evolved in a cave, I was getting eaten, or there's no food outside. And in the middle, I get to drive my body, but in extremes, my body gets to drive me. So in a chronically stressful environment, which aging you could say is kind of chronically stressful to the body, it just is, biologically. So what happens when that happens is your body says, I'm on a really long journey. And if I'm on a really long journey and fat is actually light and it doesn't burn any calories, or I could have a lot of muscle which burns calories and is heavy, and I'm on a journey, it's a non-brainer that I choose fat over muscle. So if you acutely stress out your body will always eat muscle mass and leave body fat because it thinks this is safe and it thinks this literally might kill you. So it becomes really easy to understand then why you cannot lose weight really fast and become a stronger, leaner version of yourself, because your body in any stressful situation is always going to dump the unnecessary stuff and try and make you a cheat date, okay? So when we're talking about weight loss and really being the strongest, leanest version of yourself, and again, I say strongest, leanest version, because strongest means we're maximizing muscle mass, which means I have to, and all of us here are trying to help you de-stress your body, because in a de-stressed environment, your body says, all right, I'll let him and her be a little vulnerable. And vulnerability is muscle mass, because muscle is heavy and burns calories. So life has got to be really good outside for you to be the strongest, leanest version of yourself. Now, if I'm training for a boxing tournament, I know my weight will stay, I usually fight at like 140. And that is because if I'm eating really amazing and exercising like I should, I actually weigh a little more than I do when my body sometimes is stressed. Because if my muscle mass goes down and my body fat goes up, I actually weigh less. But I look so different in the mirror, let me tell you, okay? So weight does not achieve health. Weight does not give you the appearance that you're necessarily looking for. So the other thing that we have to know too is we all have one body, and we have to rock that body, all right? So when I was growing up, my dad always called me big boned, and to me as I grew up, it took me a long time to understand that I felt like he was calling me fat in a dad way. But that's not what he was saying, right? And it took me a long time till I could realize in my own body, I'm a bulldog, man. I'm not very tall, but I can lift heavy weights. And so when you do my BMI, I always look obese, okay? And that's because my muscles are heavy and my height is short. So if you're doing height and weight, my BMI is high. So it plays with your brain. But as soon as I could figure out that, you know what, greyhounds or Victoria's Secret models, they don't have near as much muscle mass as I do. And that's okay. But I can't wish myself to be this, because to be that, I'd be sick. Because if I eat up my muscle mass, my body thinks there's something wrong with me, which means I can't think, and I don't like not to think. I love to think. So it starts to help you understand that you have to love your body for what it is. You can't want something different than what you are, because you'll always be stressed out and you'll never be your best self. So rock your body. We only have one. We're all different. We just have to embrace it. But if we embrace our body and de-stress it, you can always be the strongest, leanest version of yourself. So if someone ever comes in and says, I've never been able to control my weight, Sam, what I know in my mind is I'm like, what has your body always been protecting you from? And so that's part of the mystery, and it's part of the stuff that I love to do, is help people kind of untangle that, because it's so fun. Your body, even though it's aging, on every moment that we're alive, aging is an opportunity, I always tell folks, in a regenerative body to have life maturity, which means your life can just keep getting better. So never look at aging as something that you have to accept, that you feel bad, you don't want to move, your sleep is off, and that's it. I mean, no way. We totally help people not feel that way, because I just don't believe that it's true. So back to the body comp, what I also like with this thing, again, it calculates body fat and muscle mass. So if the hardest thing I usually have to do with folks is help them understand that food is fuel and food is beautiful. Because so much times people associate food as a reward or food as pleasure, so they think that becoming the strongest, leanest version of yourself is punitive, like it's some sort of like suffering thing. And I'm like, oh, no way. I mean, becoming the strongest, leanest version of yourself means your brain has got to feel better too, because it feels less vulnerable and it will have more energy to think, which is awesome, right? So when people come in, what you first do is one of the hardest things is teaching people to eat enough food, but it's just de-stressing them so they eat the right food. When your body is stressed out, you crave bad foods. Let me just tell you, you'll either want to smoke, drink, or eat. Why do I do that? This is what I do all day long, okay? So you just ask people that, and then you kind of figure out, how do we de-stress the body, and how do we stop that from happening? Okay, we got that. And then the next thing you do is you kind of help them work smarter, not harder. Nobody should have to exercise like 2 or 3 hours a day. That's crazy. We evolved in a cave, in dirt, lifting rocks. So eating healthfully and an exercise plan does not need to be complicated. It just needs to be simple, and it also needs to be able to be done in that person's life. So it just needs to be manipulated a little bit. So that's another thing that we're super passionate about, is helping people de-stress, helping people understand why, helping them understand that food is great, it's just the right foods, de-stress their body so those crazy cravings go away. I hear all the time people will tell me, I just don't have a lot of willpower. And I tell them, I'm like, no, your body's just trying to protect you from something. And so you lift that, and of course everybody wants to eat well and move. I'm not joking you, everybody does. Because being healthy to the human body is like sweat, it's in your genome. So, but stress chronically will always increase this, always. Fix that, the fat goes away, because your body wants you to be your best self, because that's its job. So it makes no sense why your body would want to hurt you, actually. So we love to figure out the why. So let me see some of my other things here too. Okay, so we already talked about the body comp, which we follow almost like on a monthly basis a lot of times, because I can almost look at the body comp now and I know how they feel in their mind, because this is just a physical sign of what they're feeling, but I also can see it in your blood work. It's like so super fun. And again, whatever weight loss program you make it simple. The other thing I'll hear all the time is people say, I didn't have an hour to work out, so I just didn't do it. And I'm like, oh, no way. 10,000 steps is 5 miles. Find 10,000 steps in your day. Make it that simple and just be consistent about 10,000 steps. That's 500 calories a day. And if you walk up and down your stairs, or you walk around your house, or walk around in your house, you're still getting that movement. So make it so simple, and don't think that because you can't go to whatever exercise class for an hour and a half that means that you are not a good person. The other thing I hear all the time too is people say, if I don't go to the gym, I'm a bad person. And I sit there and I'm like, heck no. What do you like to do? Every human being loves some sort of activity. They just do. So I don't care if you walk your dog. I don't care if you row at your house. I don't care what you do. Just move and do something that you enjoy. Because if you do something and commit yourself to what your neighbor wants you to do and you don't enjoy it, you won't do it. And then you pay money to something that doesn't matter. So if you love walking your dog, go get a new pair of shoes. Walk your dog. If you love to go to the gym and be with people, go to the gym and be with people. But literally just do what you love, because you'll be consistent about it, and that's all that matters. Do not make this hard, because it doesn't need to be hard. The other thing too is, dear goodness gracious, if I hear about another fad diet, it can make your brain feel like it's going to explode, because it's so difficult to know where the heck do I start, right? It's bananas. Well, let's take it back. And that is why this is simple, because being healthy has got to be simple. If we evolved hundreds of thousands of years in a cave with dirt and rocks, then our body has already figured out how to keep us healthy. And it didn't figure it out with a skyscraper, a car, or an airplane. It figured it out with rocks and dirt and stuff growing outside. So our body made it simple. Why in the heck are we making this so hard? So whole foods, people come like, what the heck is that? All right, make a play for yourself, like football or basketball. And all you do is you go in the grocery store and you go on the outside, right? The other thing I would say is people will be like, do I not eat dairy? Do I not eat wheat? Do I not eat this? Like, what do I not eat? Well, you could guess what your body is allergic to or sensitive to, or you could just ask it. So another thing we do a lot of here, which I talk about all the time, is food allergies and food sensitivities, because you could read 5 books, eliminate everything, or go on whatever anti-inflammatory diet you want, or you could just ask your body the question. And the other thing you could do with your body is you can ask it the answer. So if you think that taking curcumin is going to lower your high sensitivity CRP because they said it in a book, why don't you try it? And then check your CRP in about 3 months and see what happens, right? So you can always ask your body if your intervention is making the difference, and you'll either feel it, or you'll be able to see it in your blood work, or you'll be able to see it in your body's physical makeup. That is so cool. So again, don't make this hard. Don't apply 50 books and tell your body it's about the 50 books. Read the books, get the knowledge, ask your body the question, and figure out what it likes and what you like. Because all of the stuff that we do is just information. It's what you do with the information and your ability to listen to your body that sets you apart. So basically, when we do weight loss here, we're trying to help you understand why. Because when you statistically look at it, like 90% of weight loss plans fail. Why? They never helped you figure out why, and they never helped you change why it happened. So we're super passionate about that. I didn't go to medical school to not help people, and I certainly am very driven for goal orientation. So I never went to college and said, I want an F. I never said that. I always want an A. So that being said, we're also super driven around here to help people achieve this goal that we talk about, because no one ever goes into this thinking they want to fail. Everyone wants to go into this to feel like they succeed. And so I think that's super important. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about too is the aesthetic procedures that we do, because people sometimes think aesthetic procedures like cool sculpting is cheating. And I'll tell them that is not. So let's go back again and think about this. So aging is a chronic stress on the body. The more stressed my body feels, the more it will hold on to body fat and reduce muscle mass. That's just what happens, okay? So as I age, it gets harder to lose those problem areas, all right? It's not impossible, it just gets harder. So if you are driving your body as hard as it goes and you still have a pocket of fat, that's very discouraging for people. It doesn't need to be discouraging, okay? I also point attention out when you watch that, I don't know if it's this Naked Afraid movie I've watched on Discovery Channel, where they drop the women out in the middle of whatever for 21 days, and they eat bugs and drink water. And so when they pick them up, they're all emaciated, their muscle mass is much decreased, right? When I'm talking about muscle mass, but what is always there? That little pocket of fat on the bottom of their abdomen usually. Why? Because their body's safe, right? Safe and light. It's like your safe backpack. That muscle made them vulnerable. The bugs didn't feed it, so it went away. So when you de-stress the body, that muscle mass will return. So your body is always genetically wired. You have until the age of 20 to put on fat cells, okay? And then after you're 20, the amount of subcutaneous fat cells on your body is pretty much set. So I think them as like balloons or Ziploc bags. So at the age of 20, I as a female have a lot more Ziploc bags than usually males do, because males usually have like a 11-12% body fat at the age of 20. I'm in my 20% somewhere, right? So then I have 20% subcutaneous, see I'm slouching, okay, subcutaneous Ziploc bags or balloons in my body. And so those balloons open, close, open, close. So when I get stressed, fill with fat. When I get unstressed, de-go from fat. But my amount of fat cells stay the same. So what Cool Sculpting does is Cool Sculpting goes in and pops the Ziploc bags or the balloons. So each time you do it, you get 25% fat reduction per time you do it, okay? So but if I come in a stress situation and I think Cool Sculpting is gonna save my day, yeah, your fat's gonna go somewhere else, okay? It will never come back to the same area, but you'll still put on body fat, because if your body did put on body fat, that would be like biologically not normal. So you have to, we are very passionate, and what I think sets us apart is that we are passionate about figuring out the why with doing the Cool Sculpting, okay? Because when you pair them together, you set yourself free. So the other thing I'll hear about Cool Sculpting too, or working out, is people will tell me that little pocket of fat on their stomach, they have done abs and they have done planks for their whole life, and that little pocket won't go away. And I tell them, yep, that makes complete sense. The pocket of fat is not about how many sit-ups you did. It's not how many planks you did. It's not about the strength of your core. It's about your bank of fat. It's about your bank of stress, okay? So you have to figure out your stress, and you have to balance your body, and then you can do anything with your body that you want. But you can't cheat it, right? You just have to kind of figure it out. So, and it totally works, hands down, with each person that I see, if we do the right things and we balance that out. And if people come in and they say it's not working, I just know that I'm like, oh, their body's talking to us and I'm not hearing it. So I'll keep trying and trying until we figure it out. So I think those are just super key concepts to know about weight loss and wellness, and look into the new year, is if you have a pocket of fat that's bugging you, that's the easiest thing I can do for you, right? Because Cool Sculpting, I can melt it away, or whatever machine we use, but it works. It's not cheating by doing that. The older that we get, the harder it is. The other thing I'd like to say about Cool Sculpting that I see is that when people have an area that they've never been able to lose and they lose it, they freaking lighten up. It is so fun to watch them, and they get inspiration to walk a little bit more and eat a little bit better. So I love watching the incentive that it gives people. But if somebody comes in and Cool Sculpts and they're all stressed out and it melts their fat off, I promise you I'll see them in about 6 months, and fat's gonna go to a weird place. Okay, it's going to go to a place they've never seen before, under the arm. There was some story I heard about some woman that did so much liposuction stuff that she's starting to get fat in the back of her neck, because your body will go and find where to put it. So on this notion too, this is why men get the beer belly later in life, because men have, like we talked about, lower body fat percent at 20. So when their body stuffs all the stress in their Ziploc bags or balloons, then they run out of spot, right? So it goes inside and pushes out. So that's why you can't squeeze it, because it's visceral. So visceral fat is stress stored on the inside. Subcutaneous fat is stress stored on the outside. So literally when someone walks in the office, I can look at their body and I can kind of figure out, oh, they moved all the time, or what their body fat was when they were 20, because I can see how their body fat got put on as an adult. And it is so cool that you can just look at people and listen to their story and look at their body comp and listen to their labs, and it's like you can kind of figure out like what their stages of life that they've been through, how your body has protected you, and how it's responded. Now I'm super nerdy, so I totally love that stuff, and I'm taking this so far. Like, I was just trying to listen about weight loss. So anyway, I think that probably is quite a bit for right now. So make it simple. Eat whole foods. Don't be overwhelmed by 5,000 different diets. You pick the diet that works well for you. Be consistent about 10,000 steps. Be good at one thing and then go to the next thing, because this is not about just the weight loss. It's about changing your life and finding balance and persistence so you can live the best life you can have. So why would you want to do the same thing over and over and over again? Starving is not the answer. Working out 50 hours a day, even though it would be impossible, I guess, obviously, is not the answer either. It's about moderation, and it's about loving yourself, and it's about food is fuel. It's so fun. So as this new year comes, if anyone needs any help with weight loss, we love it here. We love to help people with that, because really weight loss, wellness, it's all the same, because you have to balance the body to find mental peace, and you have to balance the body to find weight loss too. So I don't know if we have any questions or if we're kind of running close to the end here.
I think we ran out of time for questions.
All right, so we've run out of time for questions today, but we're going to be back next week, and next week we are going to talk about it's before the sex party that we're going to have, and I'm totally going to talk about the vagina, because that's the easiest thing I could talk about in the whole wide world other than stress. And the reason is because, I've spent a lot of time there, obviously, doing stuff to help people out. And I think people just fear it because they don't understand it. But there's absolutely nothing to fear. So I'm excited to talk about that, too. So don't forget to start following us on Instagram, because I'm going to attempt every day to say something mindful or help people know the great things that I hear throughout the day. And hopefully that shares that with you and brightens your day, too. And otherwise, next week, we're talking about the vagina. And you have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.